Cross-ExAnime.
Oh, we're back.
Episode 119.
I wasn't expecting us both to say it at the same time. Hey, Justin, we're back. What are we talking about?
We'll be talking about our C list of shows today,
know
which
why?
includes My Hero Academia, Season 6, To Your Eternity, Season 2, Vinland Saga Season 2,
Trigun
Stampede,
the reanimation.
and then Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible.
Sorry, Kubo-san?
Kubo-san.
Wow. Get it right. Hey, you know what C stands for in the C list?
Crying.
No, it stands for cool because My Hero was cool.
My Hero was lots of like tears.
I didn't cry. You cried.
It's the depression arc is
Listen,
what people like to refer to it as.
Endeavor cried. I'm over here like, to be a man. And then like he sees his wife. I'm like, oh man, this is it. I can feel it coming on there. It was cool to see the families coming together after they almost all died.
Yeah, it was a little funny because, of course, Endeavor's like there laying in bed, like crying because he's not strong enough to like fight his boy.
Shoto comes in. Nope. Closes door. It's like, Shoto! Dude, I love when he yells his name. It's like,
I do even appreciate, like, because
is that what you appreciate about him?
And there's not a lot that's gone on in these 3 episodes. It's lots of, specifically compared to like action and everything else. These are basically
Evan Dowers gets some action.
These are like 3 conversations within the 3 episodes. 3 converging kind of things are happening. The All for One has escaped officially with like 10,000
to be fair, there was
prisoners.
action. There was a whole prison break. Just no action.
Well,
there was a huge prison break.
Yes,
10,000 like
90% of it wasn't focused on that. It was, and the biggest one was Endeavor's past as being a shitty dad. Which even once you learn it, yes, he was a shit dad.
But it wasn't as bad as you thought.
Yes, his intentions were good in the end.
He tried to do good, but it just ended up horrible instead.
Yes.
Like he tried to protect Dabi, which is Yoko or
I don't remember.
Yoto or Kyoto
doesn't it start with a T?
Toya, that's what it was.
There you go.
He tried to keep Toya from hurting himself because his body was meant for cold, but he has the power of fire. So he basically had what Todoroki had, but not correct.
Yeah.
And they go in depth about like quirk merging and what they needed to do. And obviously after the first kid, they were a happy family. Second kid, still happy. They were both kind of upset. Third kid, you could tell Endeavor's like getting kind of upset. Then they had Shoto. And then it was like perfect. They're all happy. But you can see the mother, like you can see why his mother was like that. Like you're actually finally after 5 seasons getting details like what actually happened, how it broke down.
Yeah, and just the specific like anguish between a lot of it, and even how Shoto ended up being burned in the face. Basically, when the dad, Endeavor lost it, and realizing that the son, Toya, was not listening, and like the strain of I've messed up, but I can't try to fix it because me being here is part of the problem, at least in his own head. And
I was very emotional.
It was very good fleshing a lot of that out, especially because like there have been all of the like, oh, he's a terrible person kind of stuff, and it's like, was it a marriage of convenience per se? Yes, but like he's definitely still had some love there. And good intentions.
The big thing which we skipped over initially was All for One and everyone has escaped from Prison Island, and they talked about how every prison around Japan was basically hit at the same time.
There were like 6 prisons.
6 prisons now. There's 10,000 villains on the loose, and now they got to clean it up. After everyone was hurt. The problem is they can't activate new heroes because, like, the hero agency, like, corporate whatever headquarters is down. So you're in this... We spent the entire season, people's, like, opinion of heroes fluttering last season. Like, oh, the heroes are still there, but they have doubts. Then the big fight. a lot of people's doubts have dropped drastically, and watching the students have to like take that up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to take what they thought heroes were and actually still apply it.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're getting citizens fighting back, and the big problem they even mentioned in the show, which would make sense in real life too, is citizens are getting a hold of like support items that the heroes know how to mitigate damage, which is why they're heroes too. Like they can stop crime, but they also mitigate damage and keep people from getting hurt.
They know what they're doing.
But in one of like that episode, you watch them stop a criminal, but they end up destroying a lot of this city instead. So you're watching a lot of these big cities get destroyed by criminals.
Yeah,
but they're trying their best to come back. Like even Hawks at the end of these 3 episodes, you see his wings growing back. It's like, let's go, he's back, baby.
You even see with a lot of that, like what's the best way to explain it? Everything is collapsing so quickly in 2 days.
Yeah,
since the major incident, the breakouts, like all of the criminals like doing whatever they want, civilians basically becoming heroes out of nowhere. Like this is all like just 48 hours while a bunch of people are in the hospital that are very important people, and you're like, oh Jesus, that's like,
well, I think
collapse of society levels like bad.
Well, I think there's gonna be a make or break situation where Endeavor's gonna have to like obviously burn in the shoulder of like being the bad guy, because even like the number 8 hero retired, 9 hero retired.
Yeah. And a bunch of others have too. He was like, of course.
So I wonder if there's going to be a thing where like Endeavor does this like whole fight to clean up the heroes, where he actually puts in a lot of effort, and then you see like those heroes come back for one big battle to fight Shigaraki again. Because like you said, we're only supposed to have one more season or something?
Yeah, we're getting near the end. And even right now, with a lot of what's going on, you can see the end in sight with the show. It's close.
They're saying season 7 is expected to be the final season of this main story.
I mean, it totally makes sense compared to where we are. Once
it's towards the end, you have Shigaraki and All for One. Because I imagine they're going to set this up where the city's getting cleaned up. Mm-hmm. The end of the season is probably going to be like a big like fight between them, and that's where season 7 comes in. But it's people were saying, if I'm correct, this is the dark Deku arc, or like the villain Deku arc.
I don't know.
Where basically Deku just breaks and is like, rather than be like a good hero that like makes people see themselves as good, he's just gonna go around just destroying.
I have no idea. I don't know
for whatever reason. I was just reading
right now. He's basically in a coma, and did you cry?
What?
Feel like someone who would have cried with Bakugo's reaction, like heading towards Deku.
I was like, if you die, I'll kill you. It's like, what? Dude, Bakugo's in the hospital. Like, you're going to bleed out. It's going to be worse if you hold me back. It's like, he's got a point.
Well, yes.
And then Yuko Cho's like, he's back to his old self on there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's really the only one that got, like, he and Deku got seriously hurt. There's got to be a thing. I mean, to be fair, Aizawa got pretty hurt too.
And Gran Torino's also in the hospital. Like, a lot of them were seriously injured.
So I feel like there's going to be a thing where Aries going to show up and help them all get back to full health. Because she can, like, if she can give Lemillion back his powers right before that fight, I'm sure she can, like, help reverse injury. She
100% could. I think one of the interesting things was during the prison break, we got to see a villain that was very unique with the multicolored hair.
The girl?
Yeah,
she's in the opening theme. Mm-hmm. So she's probably going to be our next big villain for this arc. Or maybe she'll be a villain that's actually kind of a good villain. I'm not sure.
But the other big people that we see, the big muscular dude that Deku fucked up.
Oh, yeah, from the
third season. Second or third season. No, third.
Was it third season?
Yeah, it's when they're training in the mountains after like a lot of the stuff had kind of gone off. And then you see fucking Overhaul.
Yeah, it's from episode 42 specifically.
Yeah. So that's like third season.
Yeah, because I think season 2 was only 12.
Yeah. It was it was 11, 12, and then that's when they started doing the 24.
First season was pretty long, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
The first 2 seasons were very
besides
short.
that, keep going.
but we got to see Overhaul missing his arm.
Yeah, he just ran out.
He's human. He's basically just human.
Yeah, because he said something about his dad, which I know they threw him in here because obviously he would escape too, but there's got to be a reason why they showed off all those heroes. Or those villains.
And then the big one was Stain being back because they even took the time to show him grabbing his sword and everything.
But he
and
did say something about the hero. So I wonder if it'll be a thing where
some villains become heroes. Like
maybe, yeah. I wonder if that's why
things were bad, but you've gone too far. Maybe.
I wonder if Stain will take the approach of, because all the heroes that are only doing it probably for money and fame are basically quitting right now.
Yeah.
So only the people that actually want to be there. So I wonder if Stain's maybe gonna switch. He'll still be arrested, but maybe he'll do a thing where he takes out some villains. I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, this show's been going on for eternity.
Oh boy.
Oh shoot! Speaking of eternity, Justus. 2-year eternity. Listen, it's bullshit that they do this. Well, okay, this is the backstory, right? We get Fushi laying bodies across the land, puts March up on a thing. I'm like, she might fall off. They better be careful. And I completely forgot when you become disconnected, the body, then it comes back to life with the original soul, which they've been, like, Fushi hasn't known. Like, Tasty Peach still knows, hasn't told Fushi. March gets disconnected because a big explosion happens and her body falls. And she's alive again. She wakes up, and I was like, "Oh my God, March is alive!"
That was
but the worst part though is
5 seconds of
literally the last 5 seconds of the third episode we watched. The worst part is she's right next to the wall, and Fushi has to be kind of near to experience it. Yeah. So he might lose her permanently.
That would be soul crushing.
Well, I mean, that she was the third death in the show that we had was March.
No, well,
Noah, Fushi, and then
there was I guess
Noah was the dog, then it was Fushi, which was the actual person, which is what he normally is, and then it was March after that.
No, there was the bear, then the March.
March was dead before the bear, I thought.
No, because March.
Oh, yeah. Well, fuck the bear. No one cares about the bear.
But she's the second major human.
Correct.
And the one that helped influence him the most.
So I think there's going to be a thing where Fushi's going to find out. Yeah, I think what's going to happen is I want to read ahead so bad in this. Like, I have the manga that actually passes this, but I haven't read it. I'm like, I'm sitting there right there for the reading. I think what's going to happen is the battle's going to go on. Fushi's going to see this March from a distance, but think it's just a little girl. She gets killed. Fushi goes over, kind of mourns her, and then realizes, oh my God, this is March. She's dead. How was she even alive?
I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I think there's definitely going to be...
Tasty Peach is going to have to fess up eventually.
Well, yes. I think there's going to be this moment where March... Yeah, because she is awake now.
Yes.
Where she comes across Fushi, and there's going to be the big realization of, like, oh my God, she's alive? And they're attacking right now. So now he has to try to protect her. I don't think she's going to die. I think it would be too cruel to let her die.
This bitch gonna die
again. It would be too much.
But this is 2-year eternity.
They will definitely
do it.
I would very much, because even at one point...
I've seen them murder for less.
Even at one point you see Tasty Peach grab...
Sorry, Tasty Peach Alice.
Or whatever. Mr.
Peach Alice.
Yeah. He grabs the little crab plush
and puts it back on her.
Well, he takes it because he's showing the little spirit where it's like, no, don't worry, it's still there. And then he gives it back to Fushi to put back on there because Fushi asked what he was doing. So I could see it becoming a scenario where Tasty Peach sacrifices himself to make sure March lives because of what's going on.
They've spent a lot of time with this character.
That would make sense, right?
Maybe. Fuck it, everyone dies.
Look, at one point I was real worried when his sister pops back up and the chick that totally likes Tasty Peach and the little bald cancer boy.
I mean, that's Caillou.
Yeah, basically.
Caillou looking
Well, they all popped back up, and I was like, no, don't you guys like
listen.
You're
You know what? He probably will die because they did the thing of like, don't worry, I'll make it back. It's like, you motherfuckers, that is a sign this dude is not making it back.
Yeah.
You gotta be crazy. Hear me out. Here's another theory.
Finn.
Here's my hypothesis, right?
Hmm.
They're all about to be killed, right? And they're like, oh no, Fushi, what are you gonna do? And Fushi's like, I don't know what to do. Then Sid from Eminence and Shadow pops out of nowhere. I am Atomic and just fucking decimates the state.
That would
dude, it's so
be weird.
It's so cool every time he says that.
I know, but we're not talking about Imminence this time.
Okay, long story short, we spent like an episode of half of like Fushi's tearing down houses, building them. No one cares about that.
We do find out that what's her name, the Messar. Sorry, I've got the names up here. He's the purple-haired dude. He's actually like the sister of the queen. If I remember correctly, they just have different moms.
He's the sister of the prince. You mean
Princess.
You said the sister of the queen?
Or
you mean he is the
brother of the?
He is a half brother of the princess. And the top comment on the episode was, "Goddamn Alabama."
Oh, was it really?
But I watched it pretty much right when it came out too, so I had seen it like a week earlier. This is pretty much one of the shows that I do watch week from week, and I'm like, I can't say anything about this.
Oh, but yeah, you do find out that there's not quite as much of a love thing. Of course,
Like,
he does love her.
He
but
loves her.
It doesn't feel like.
Well, the thing is, I assume he still is actually very passionately in love. To be fair, it's not out of the world of like what happened back in the day with like
royals being royals.
Yeah, royal do royal things. But he does do that thing. He's definitely dead.
Probably.
He's either dead or the princess is going to be dead. I feel like there's going to be a lot of self-sacrifice in the next 2 episodes.
Yes.
Because this fight's definitely going to go 2, if not 3 episodes. And I feel like this is going to be a lot of self-sacrifice. You're going to see a lot of characters get killed off. But there was an important thing where the man in black kind of...
he's the man in black.
Yeah. He mentioned that he could stop this attack, but he's trying to train up Fushi. And then they ask an important question is like, are you just training Fushi to take your place because you just want to be done?
Yeah.
And then he like bunches up a sword and just disappears.
Well, he was stabbed for one, which this is also the first time where it's established that the man can definitely reveal himself to other people. He's just hiding.
And he can be physical form, but he won't die.
Yeah. And he's his entire goal is to basically
make Fushi into him.
Yeah. His replacement.
Yeah.
So
then it makes you think,
how much you want to bet he created
the knockers?
Yeah.
In order to train up, maybe.
The entire existence. Because
that would be definitely like,
right?
Yeah. Especially that he knows everything they're playing all the time and how like this, like it makes sense if he made them because their goal is to kill everyone, be free. Because obviously the man in black can't do anything about people's souls. Which could be like he made it, but then they became self-aware, and their whole point is kill everyone, and then they're free from him.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, it's been a good 3 episodes.
Yes.
It's just
such hell of a teaser.
It is such bullshit that I gotta wait like a week to see what happens.
Yeah. They're finally here. We're ready for the fight. Wait a minute, is that a child?
Well, it's even worse because she falls off, and I'm like, what are they playing? And I'm like, she better not come back to life. Hits the ground, then she opens her eyes. I'm like, oh no, she's alive.
Yeah.
What's even worse, because it's now been like, what, thousands of years since?
200 and something years, right?
No, it's been longer than that.
Well, because even within that episode, the dude was calling him a little brat, and they were like, well, Fushi's actually 226 years older than you. So I would assume that is the case.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Because they gave a specific like age difference. And I know the guy's like 30 something, but I think it's around like 270-ish years.
Okay, keep for some reason thinking it's been like 400 years. It's been 40 years since the events Into Eternity's first season, and between first season, second season.
Like but when it starts, second season,
he didn't add it's like a whole
100 and something years.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, everyone March knows is just dead.
Yeah.
Which would be terrible. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, she might have a panic attack, or she's like, or it could be a thing where he separates Piorin, and then those two
God,
just.
that would be.
I mean, it might be a thing after the battle. He just starts separating everybody. It's like, well, Gugu, because think about it, they're all pairs. Gugu and the girl he was in love with can separate, and then he can also separate March and Piorin. So that's already 2 sets of people he can just separate.
He definitely could do that.
I think that might be what happens, and then he just has to have a new set of people.
Maybe.
Because Latiste Peach, because if he could be Latiste Peach...
Sorry, we are getting things incorrect. It's Perona, not Piorin. Piorin's the old lady, who is definitely the horse.
The whore?
The horse.
The whore.
Shut. You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, that's why.
Especially within the most recent episode, it's almost like the bond that they like share specifically. That horse has definitely been reincarnated as Piorin. Perona is the one that was initially with March.
It's just crazy how this saga just keeps going and going. Hey, aren't you watching someone named Saga in it?
Vinland Saga.
Hey.
Yo, so
I still need to catch up here. Next time we watch it, I will be caught up. It was just so much went down this week that.
Do you want me to describe Vinland, these 3 episodes in like 2 sentences? Because it's super easy. Murdered town, slaves captured, farming simulator. There you go. That's literally like these 3 episodes.
Discuss some of it. You got a couple minutes before we gotta.
So we get introduced to a brand new character called Einar. He's that's just his name. Einar.
I'm looking this
Einar. He was North English.
He's English? Ew.
Yeah. The Dutch came and...
I hope he dies.
Shut up. The Dutch came in and basically destroyed his entire town, murdered his mom, attempted to rape his sister. She fought back and then was murdered. So no rape there. Just dead body.
His name's that Arnheid?
Huh? Einar?
Oh, that's a different guy than one I see. Oh, Einar.
Einar.
The first bell goes walking, the second does the talk.
Huh? You forget this is meant to be Japanese.
Because Thorfinn is definitely Japanese.
Shut up. That's just how they pronounce it. He is captured as a slave, taken back to the Danes area, being, well, Danish, and is sold into slavery. That's basically it. Okay. You do see, because have you seen any of season 1?
Yeah, I've seen like 6 episodes.
Okay, so
promise I'm rewatching all of it to make sure I remember everything. Yeah, I watched it like right when it came out.
Mm-hmm. So at the very beginning, you get Leif Erikson, right? Leif Erikson? That's how you pronounce it? Or, the grandpa figure.
So Gramps.
Yeah, Erikson. Leif Erikson. You see him still getting old. He's still trying to find Thorfinn. Ask Einar if he's seen him. No. And then immediately after he leaves, is bought by this dude that takes him to some new area, a bunch of land that this guy owns. And he's like, here's your new friend. His name's Thorfinn. And it's like, well, that's convenient. And of course, they're doing slight annoying anime thing where he's like, oh, Thorfinn. I'm not going to tell him about that dude that's looking for him. It's not been brought up yet. So it's like, cool.
Ain't none of your business, boy. You leave it alone.
Yeah. And then you're kind of basically just getting a little bit of farming simulator. That's their
so
entire
we skipped
thing.
an isekai about how he became a farmer in another world to watch a non-isekai that's him being a
Look,
farmer.
this is way more important. Specifically with this show, Vinland Saga is...
Describe the fields to me, Justus. What are they growing?
Wheat. Golden wheat.
Weed?
wheat.
No, I heard what you said, but they should grow weed.
Golden wheat.
Listen, I'm
and
telling
barley.
You.
Maybe corn.
Maybe corn.
I don't know.
In this economy?
One of the kind of shithead individuals that you do meet is the son. So there's Kettle. He has a son, and I would need to find it. Omar. Absolute little shit. The dude's 17, ends up like fucking this assistant chick. And then right as he's going for round 2, you get this weird cut of her parents being out there being like, they're going for round 2. We're going to be set. And basically just, really trying to encourage that, like, if we can get the daughter to, fuck them, have a kid, then we won't have to worry about any paying for anything, because, like, we'll be part of the family, that kind of, like, really shitty natured stuff. The Omar has this big, like, I'm not enough of a man ego. And the last episode, it essentially is him being convinced to just kill a dude. That will make you a man. And he's like, well, you can't just legally kill people. And the warrior guard that's paid to, like, protect the area is like, sure you can. You've got a couple that you can legally kill already, being slaves. And so that's when Einar and Thorfinn are taken back to that area, and it's like,
take me, Thorfinn. Take me to the wheat fields.
Look, Thorfinn is a bit older, and you haven't, like, fully seen all of season 1. There's this weird cut, because especially with how season 1 ended versus where Thorfinn is now, is not the same place. So, and there's a couple year difference. Like, Thorfinn is definitely a bit older as well. So I would assume at some point they're going to go over that, because Thorfinn also woke up in, like, a nightmare, like, literal full sweat screaming. But his big thing is Einar was initially supposed to be the one that he was gonna get cut down. Of course, the guy's like 17. He was like, why would I want that? And tries to, like, fight back just a little bit. And then you got Thorfinn over there going, I'll let him cut me down. And they're like, you do realize that means he'll kill you, right? Like, yeah, well, I've never been happy in my entire life.
Damn, brother. Characters I can relate to.
Look, it was very, like, that was depressing. So, and that's kind of how it ended. It's people have been joking where it's like, welcome to Farming Simulator, woo!
I'm going to have the hottest take of 2023 off the bat.
Oh. Go ahead.
Trigun Stampede, the reanimation,
is better than the
is
original?
not that bad.
Oh.
I wouldn't say better, because I need to go back and watch it. To be fair, it was like a product of, like, the 90s, early 2000s, if I remember correctly. It is good, and I'm sick of pretending it's not.
Okay.
There's literally a character in here called Roberto De Niro.
Yeah.
You think I'm not going to make a joke?
How good? By the way, Trigun is 98.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's been a big gap. And people going like, oh, they're after more money? I just think they're after, like... I'd have to go back and watch it and make sure I know everything. Because I think this is supposed to follow the same story. I don't know. I need to double check.
The story just being told are slightly different.
They're way different off the bat on here.
Mm.
A lot of characters have changed so far. We're only 3 episodes in, and we spent all 3 episodes on one set, like one area, which originally was like, it's kind of cheap, whatever. Which kind of seems like maybe the animation isn't that bad. I think people were getting too caught up in this. Like, even I was like, the CGI. I was like, it might be good, might be bad. It works. It works very well in the way that they do it. It's almost like they did 2D animation on top of a 3D model.
I'm assuming it works so well is because
It's its own style.
It's Vash, right? Or Bash?
Vash.
Vash?
Vash. Like, get a rash, but it's Vash.
V.
Yeah.
Just double checking. It's been a while. His character a lot of the times has is a squirrely type of character. Certain CG lends itself better to that, especially if you like do it well.
Like I'm trying to get a side by side picture for you. Wow, this is the worst picture I could have
like
found.
2D versus like old versus new Vash.
Yeah, so this is a cut animation from the show versus cut animation from the original.
Yeah,
the original they made him look a little more serious with some like unserious undertones, but the new one it's definitely more it feels cartoony, is I guess the way I would describe it. Like a CG cartoon with an anime style to it on there.
I don't think that's always too bad.
I think they are doing this really well. And, people are going to hate it. This is going to be like the beginning note on there. Vash the Stampede, Trigun Stampede, the new series, is not that bad, and you should watch it if you've seen the original and speak for yourself. You can't complain about it if you haven't seen both. And I think the new series on there, the way they handle Vash as a character, voice acting is amazing in it. I love it a lot, especially for Roberto De Niro. That's a stupid name.
It is.
I didn't even notice it because they were just calling him De Niro, and I was like, oh, whatever. Or Roberto. At one point, she says De Niro, and I'm like, is his name Robert? His name is Robert De Niro. What the fuck? But no, I mean, it's great. It's great. So far, we've only met Meryl, Roberto, Vash, and then there are a pair of twins called the Nebraska brothers. Like, his name is Father Nebraska and Son Nebraska on there, which are characters from the original series as well, if I remember correctly. It's really cool to see a lot of the characters back. It's just nice to see them back, because I think this is one of the first shows I watched in, was that freshman year of high school. So it's been almost
a decade.
Well, I've been 09. So it's been almost 14 years.
That's right. It would be a decade since graduating.
Yeah. It's been 14 years since I've seen anything from Vash. And even then, the show was 10 years old. So since then, it's been like 24-ish years since they've done this. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the watch. The fights, really good off the bat. I think the music, the choreography with the fighting have done a great job.
Sorry. I apologize for making Matt yawn.
Yeah, but it's done by Studio Orange. So they've done stuff like...
They've done Beastars, right?
Yeah, they did the new Godzilla series. They did Beastars.
Yeah, so they know how to do CG.
Yeah, they know how to do CG and mix it well. And I'd argue that it's like...
real quick, because you have it up still, right?
Yeah.
They've also done Land of the Lustrous, correct?
I'd have to look. I don't know what it looks like.
But it's the one with the like green multicolored hair chick. Land of the Lustrous was...
Well, they did Black Bullet. They did Under the Dog, which was a project that I also kickstarted as well. Helped kickstart, never got any of the benefits from it because I didn't donate enough. But besides that, I would say, so they're on episode 5 right now. I only watched 3 episodes. And there's a scene, it's like the coolest scene where like Vash's brother knives, which they're keeping a lot of the same characters. Have you ever seen Trigun?
It's a very long time
basically,
ago.
Vash and knives are part of like a civilization that's part of the Earth. And like this technology was in space. Then knives took out all of like the space fleet somehow. I don't want to spoil it. But then it all got landed on the Earth, right? And then basically all the technology on the Earth is considered like lost technology because they can't reproduce this. So they have like these bioplants that supply all food and water. Like it's a machine that can craft it out of nothing for you.
Yeah.
But in these 3 episodes, like literally in 3 episodes, they have like 4 fights here, basically taking place of like, oh, like we need to protect this flower. So basically the local police gets involved. They try to arrest Vash. And there's a really cool scene where Justus, he shoots like a rocket launcher up in the air. Basically it's a javelin missile. It comes down and it's like a cluster bomb coming down. And Vash is like, oh, I need like a 22 caliber bullet. And he's like yelling. Finally the girl throws it to him. There was one thing that kind of pissed me off, even though it's anime and it's not supposed to be realistic. The guy shoots his 22 bullet, which you know what a 22 is, like super small. Like you could probably bend it with your finger. Bullet goes running. Vash grabs the bullet, throws in his gun, shoots a rock. He throws a rock up in the air and shoots it. And then because Because the idea is Vash is extremely smart and good at calculating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like test humans of like new development. And then he takes out all the cluster bombs. I'm like, oh, this is so cool on there. Like, this is the Vash I wanted. So there's certain stuff like that you could really, with the budget you probably have, could only do via CG, and they've done a fantastic job.
Okay.
You looked like you were going to say something real quick.
Yeah, so I was just double checking. They have done Land of the Lustrous.
Okay. But that's fight number 1, Justice. Fight number 2, so those guys leave town. Then a pair of like mercenaries come in. That's a Nebraska family or whatever. So there's the dad and the son. The son's like a highly modified and whatnot. They have the fight, and you learn like Vash, like in the original series, doesn't want to kill anybody. Doesn't even want to hurt anybody, but he'll like stop it if it's going to get someone hurt. Mm-hmm. And the town already found out like Vash is a wanted criminal. They don't really do anything, but they didn't know he's worth $6 million double dollars, which is like $6 million. Mm-hmm. And these guys come in to cash in on it, and they go through this whole thing of like one of the plants are dying, which is why the water supply is bad, yada yada yada. He defeats the mercenaries, but he defeats the mercenaries in like a merciless way. Like he's about to kill like the Nebraska father's son, and then Vash spares him, then saves him, and then they get intertwined with this group, and it's like, oh, we're gonna leave town finally. Then Vash's brother shows up, and Vash's brother hired a guy called the EG bomber, Easy Game Bomber, where like he can blow stuff up easily. Basically, it's like this like virus looking like bombs that attach to people.
Okay.
And it locks in and blows up, which is kind of like, oh, the CG is not really good. But then you get these moments of like people self-sacrificing for the town because like bombs activate at certain times, and the guy's like, "Get away from me! I need to get away!" And like dude runs away and blows up. Everyone's like, oh, shoot. Vash defeats him. Then his brother shows up, and that's when all hell breaks loose. It was like, oh, the show's kind of dark, but not really. Literally, there's this scene where Vash's brother has, like, the Dr. Octavius, like, arms, kind of. Grabs these, like, 3 girls trying to defend the vault. Because the vault has the flowers in it that give them everything they need. Like, if those flowers go away, they're just dead.
Yeah.
They're defending it, right? And this, like, thing goes, like, 30 feet, grabs this one girl, and she's, like, screaming, like, wow, that's got her all. It's kind of good voice acting. And you hear go, bleh, and there's just blood everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a guttural, like, they dropped, like, real blood on concrete and just recorded it. Because, like, just the...
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. Then they grab another girl and then cuts off her arm. And I'm like, oh, this show went from a hard, like, maybe PG-13-ish, because no one's really kind of dying that you see, to, like, oh, this might be, like, a hard R at this point. Oh. She's, like, cut up, bleeding everywhere, and, like, the last girl's about to get killed. But they do this thing where they make you have an emotional connection with this random little kid. And it's like, oh, she's such a good little kid. And then like 10 minutes later, fucking murk her.
Nice.
No, it was very sad. I'm saying she's like,
murder the children.
Well, the thing is, the tavern owner, it's her daughter, and she's pregnant with another kid. And like the daughter looks up to Vash, and like, you know, the tavern owner is like, oh, we're not going to give up Vash, but they need to give up Vash to save the kid. So she's like having this emotional dilemma. Yeah. And like at the end of episode 3, she's like holding her dead daughter, and everyone else in town is holding their dead kids because like Vash's brother had killed like a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it's really good voice acting. Like if I were to say something right now, Knives is probably the best voice actor I think of this season. I like what he did. You would have to watch it. Mm. And she's holding her dead daughter, and Vash is like, I'm sorry, they want this to happen. He said he was your brother, right? It's like, yeah. She's like, I never want to see you again. Leave us. And you're just there like, oh, I feel so bad because it's not Vash's fault. Vash is just trying to go about his life, help people.
Why is his brother an asshole?
They explain it later. I don't want to give anything away because like I feel like the overarching story is going to be the same, but they're changing certain fights and scenes.
Gotcha.
They took away my favorite character though. Her name is Rem. Has nothing to do with Rem.
Who?
She's how to describe her? In the original Trigun series, she's like a real tall gal. I don't know. She's gonna be a thing. All in all, I'll stop talking about it here because I'm out of time. It is a series you should watch. I think it's one of the must watches of the season. I don't care what people say because the show seems like it's going to be invisible to people.
God.
Oh, yeah.
So bad.
It's all coming together. Hey, Kubo, won't we be invisible? Do you like big boobs, Justice?
I'm indifferent.
That is a quote Kubo asked Shirashi. Okay, so I'll let you talk for a second. Kubo won't be invisible. Watch 3 episodes of it. New to this season on here.
Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting with the show. It's a bit more wholesome than I thought. Also,
dude, it's very wholesome and adorable. You heard me at one point. I was like, "This show's so fucking cute and adorable."
Yeah, you were doing that cringe thing where you're like, "Oh, right, my Kokoro." I'm pretty sure you said that.
I did not say that in the least bit because I don't know what a fucking Kokoro is.
Heart.
Oh, I said it right in my heart. It's like hits you right in the heart. And I'm like Kokoro. I'm not like Kawaii. Yeah. Listen, there was a scene where Shirashi's little brother is at the park playing in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, it's adorable. And it's like, go say hi to her. And then like he's like, oh hello. It's like, oh, he's so cute. Then he's like, what's some of her drink? It's like, we gotta ask nicely. She's like, then Kobo's like, oh, you can have some. He's like, takes a drink. He's like, oh, you have some. It's like he's in the sharing phase.
Yeah.
Then Kubo takes a drink. She's like, hands it back. Little kid's like, now you drink it, big brother. And then he like pretends to drink it. And immediately Kubo is thinking what we're thinking, like he didn't drink because it's an indirect kiss. And this kid can't handle it.
Yeah.
God, I love this show so much.
Adults look real weird.
What,
the teacher.
Unzen Sensei?
Yeah.
He's like this tall, like Mr. Monopoly looking ass.
Yeah, has to stand on a box and use a stick,
pointer,
like that has the chalk on it, just to be able to draw and point at stuff.
Listen, I guess we forgot to mention the whole point of this show. Why it's called that is that's me going like this.
Oh,
it's not the cat's knocking on the door. Yes, sir. Let me in to use the bathroom. I
didn't know if it was like Calvin or something.
Oh, so Shirashi is basically invisible to everyone. He's like very hard to notice. Which we've had shows kind of like this before.
Yeah.
But this takes a whole new take of like no one sees him at all, to where like he'll be at a convenience store and even the automatic doors won't notice him.
Yeah.
Like he puts stuff on the counter and no one notices. But there was a funny scene where he's up on his desk like doing like the stretch, and the teacher, which doesn't even acknowledge him normally, is like, Shirashi, please get down from your desk immediately, and then everyone notices. But Kubo loves him. Oh man, this is so.
Yeah, I think
I love a good rom-com.
I think that's the one thing that makes the show. The fact that she's of course teasing a little bit, but far more forward, where you're like, there's less of that, oh, does she like him? Does she not? Or it's like, no, she totally got a thing.
Because she's the only one that can normally notice him.
Yeah.
Without like needing anything else.
Apparently, everyone in her family just notices him.
Do people with the last name Kubo able to see me? Oh, that's her sister who caught me. Literally, dude is putting back a porno mag that someone left out.
He was gonna look through it.
No, he initially was like, I should put it back. Then he grabs it and like is like, I'm gonna look. And her older sister walks behind, is like, oh, you're not old enough for that, are you? Mm-hmm. And then she did perfectly. He's like, don't lie. Tells the whole story. Then she's like, oh, I bet you were going to put it away, but then you thought you could make a sneaky peek. And it's like, oh, she's on to me.
Yeah.
And then the best thing that has happened to me in life, too, is I can never go back to the store ever again.
Yeah. The sister's pretty good. Just that casual, like,
something happened to you today.
Yeah. As someone with siblings, both older and younger siblings, they're very much that like weird, awkward age where you walk past and you're like, so what's up?
Dude, the best part was when, the reason why I asked Justus to be like big boobs is there's a scene where, so obviously the sister caught him looking at a magazine with girls with big boobs. He dropped his ID, unfortunately for him. She's like, oh, this boy goes to your school. Can you give him back his ID on there? What was he doing? Looking at magazines with girls with big boobs. He's probably into that, boys that age. Then immediately Kubo walks up out of the blue. Do you like big boobs? He's like, what? Do you like big boobs? Well, what are you asking? She's like, never mind. Like, there's a little Sudere on there. I don't know. It's just adorable in every way. Because
it's been enjoyable. I do know that we'll only talk about it one more time for right now. That is kind of one of the one thing that sucks is it's enjoying it. We only watched the first 3 episodes. There's a current delay similar to Nier with this one.
I think I figured out what the delay might be.
It's all COVID based.
Oh, well, I was gonna guess the main girl, Kubo. Yeah, she's the painkiller girl that the next series of Demon Slayer is focusing on.
No, it's a series. It was a COVID outbreak stuff, so they shut things down.
Wow, she really changed up her voice because I don't recognize her. I didn't recognize her voice at all, and she's played a lot of characters that we've watched.
I recognize it. It was pretty easy.
Oh,
Same thing with him. Like that dude is in
she was
everything.
She was in like every show we watched like last season.
I mean, same thing with Yo Boy.
Oh, she was in Sakugan and Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. What the? This woman's just on fire with roles.
Yeah, the dude who plays Shiraishi is in, let's see, Dr. Stone as Gin.
He's in Tokyo Revengers. He's in Chainsaw Man. He's in like everything that we're watching and what
Demon
we're about
Slayer, to watch. Like Overlord. Yeah, they've both been in like.
To be fair,
so much. They're massive voice actors and actresses.
If anyone wants to say I didn't recognize him from Iron Blooded Orphans, I don't watch the Japanese dub for Iron Blooded. I watch the English.
Oh, you monster.
Dude, it is so good. The dub for Iron Blooded Orphans in English is like 90% hits it right on the head.
Yo, okay. Hey, he plays the like girl boy character.
Besides
Basket.
that, I would say this show, not like I said, there's not a lot to talk about. It's kind of like it's a lot of adorable scenes that happen. We mentioned some of the big ones on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll probably be because we just finished our anime awards. Everyone should go and watch the anime awards on our channel as well. There's one posted before this.
Yeah.
I think this might have to be fair, they're going to take a big break depending how long of a break they take.
Yeah, it might be next season when they come back.
It might do something for rom-com of the year.
Yeah, it depends on how well Tomo.
I think in spring, that's when we get our biggest rom-com.
Well, which one is that?
Well, the next season.
Oh.
Like, it is springtime. Everyone's thinking about it. Like, blah, blah, blah. It'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, all in all, it was a good week. I liked it. You have anything else, Justice?
That's about it. I hope you guys enjoy.
All right. Toodaloo. Bye.